students. So in first lesson you studied about how the Britishers they came to India, how they had trade and how they entered into the politics. So here 4 European countries they came to India. Among those 4 European countries, English were more powerful. So when English were more powerful, by this other European countries could not compete with the British or with the English. So they did not came to India. And now by the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, it was almost clear that the Britishers were more powerful and they almost had control over Bengal, Bihar and Odisha regions. That is to the eastern parts. They gained a lot of control over the eastern parts. And now in the south and western parts of India, the Marathas and Mysore, only these people were more powerful, and now only these were the obstacles for the British to conquer the southern area, and to the north the Sikhs were more powerful. Now anyhow they wanted to have control or administer whole India. So they wanted to defeat the Mysore, Marathas and also the Sikhs. So here they waged many wars to gain control over these regions. So that is only about this lesson, that is the extension of the British rule. By the Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, they almost gained control over Bihar, Bengal and Odisha. Now they are becoming more powerful by their cunning policies. And also by these policies they could easily administer the areas which they controlled. In the first chapter you already studied about dual government. Dual government was introduced by Robert Clive. By this what happened? They gained control over collecting taxes of those regions. So in some or the other way they wanted not only the areas of the territories but also they wanted the economy of that regions. So they were continuously waging wars over those areas. So now one by one how they gained control over these all regions. That is western region, southern India and also the northern part of India. We shall study in this chapter. So see here, through Carnatic wars the English had made other European countries not to challenge them in India. So already you know, among the European countries the English and the French were more powerful. By the end of these Carnatic wars, it was almost known that English were more powerful to any other European countries. So the other European countries could not compete with English in India. They gained complete political control over Bengal through Plassey and Buxar battles. So Battle of Plassey which took place in 1757 and Battle of Buxar which took place in 1764. By this they gained control over Bengal region, which was rich in its economy, agriculture, commerce and trade. So see here, by 1765 they had gained control over most of the eastern parts of India. Understood? So here eastern parts means by these two battles, that is Battle of Plassey and Battle of Buxar, they gained most of control over eastern parts. Now which were left? The southern India, the western part and the northern part of India. Since the Marathas and Mysore states were dominant in southern and western parts of India, the hold of British was restricted to Bengal and Bombay regions only. So here the Marathas were there, the Mysore was there in south and western part of India. So the Britishers could not come to these regions. There were restrictions were there only up till Bombay and Bengal. Now they wanted to conquer these regions also. So next year, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan of Mysore along with Peshwas of Maratha were the only impediments in the path of expansion for the British. Impediments means obstacles who could stop the British to reach these regions. So Hyder Ali, Tipu Sultan in Mysore region and Peshwas in Maratha region were more powerful. Now anyhow they wanted to defeat these people and conquer those all areas so that they could administer the eastern part, western part and the southern part of India. The others were sick in the northwestern region. Ranjit Singh, who emerged in the later part of the 19th century, was a formidable opponent to the British. He was successful in organizing the Sikhs. So see now. In the north western region, Ranjit Singh of Sikh, he was more powerful. So here the Britishers wanted to defeat Ranjit Singh so that they could gain control over north western regions also. So now they wanted to defeat the Sikhs, Marathas and Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan in these all parts, so that they could gain the major parts in India. So here, to gain control over these regions, they also started adopting many policies so that they could have control over those regions. And also they waged many wars. With Marathas, they waged 3 Anglo-Maratha wars. With Mysore, they waged 4 Anglo-Mysore wars. And with Sikhs, they waged 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. After these all wars, they gained control over these all regions, and most of the parts of India were under their control. So see here, the British also waged repeated wars from the mid of 18th century to mid of 19th century to extend their empire in India. Apart from these, they also annexed various kingdoms with cunning policies like subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. So see here, they did not directly wage war, but also they started these cunning policies to gain control over those regions. So among those cunning policies, these were 2. That is subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse. So this subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley, who had been as a Governor General in India. So this subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley in 1798, and this doctrine of lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie in 1848. So by these cunning policies, they also had control over those all regions. So what were these policies? We shall study further. Now see here, during this period, the British waged 3 Anglo-Maratha wars, 4 Anglo-Mysore wars and 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. Since the Anglo-Mysore wars discussed in Unit 4, here we shall understand the wars of the British with Marathas and Sikhs. So in this chapter you shall study about 3 Anglo-Maratha wars and 2 Anglo-Sikh wars. So about 4 Anglo-Mysore wars you shall study in next chapter, that is chapter 4. So first of all, Anglo-Maratha wars. In that, first Anglo-Maratha war which took place from 1775 to 1782. First Anglo-Maratha war which took place from 1774 to 1782. Sorry, 1775 to 1782. So see here, the Marathas installed Shah Alam II back on the throne of the Mughal Empire in Delhi. Shah Alam was under the care of British after the defeat in Buxar war. Now the emperor gave Kora and Allahabad to Marathas. So see here, already you know about Shah Alam II in Battle of Buxar we studied. Shah Alam II was a Mughal emperor. So here he fought with the British in Battle of Buxar which took place in 1764. With whom? With Mir Qasim and Shuja-ud-Dawla. So here the British, he was under the British. So now the Marathas, they bought Shah Alam II and they made him sit on the throne. Now by this what happened? Shah Alam II, he gave Kora and Allahabad to the Marathas, which was under the Britishers. So when he gave those places to the Marathas from the Britishers, their enmity grew between the Britishers and Marathas. So here in Marathas, what had happened here? Madhavrao, after the death of Madhavrao, was a Peshwa in the Maratha. After his death, his brother Narayan Rao became the when Narayan Rao became Peshwa, he was murdered by his uncle, that is Raghunath Rao or Raghoba. Why he was murdered? Because his uncle wanted to become the Peshwa after the death of Madhav Rao. But Raghunath Rao he could not become, so he murdered Narayan Rao. So when Narayan Rao was murdered, his son, who was still a minor, that is Madhav Rao II, he became Peshwa. Means the Maratha people, they did not wanted that Raghunath Rao should become the next Peshwa. So by this what happened, Raghunath Rao he was still more angered and he took the help of the British. So here by taking the help of the British, the war between the British and Marathas was started from 1775 to 1782. Until then they fought, and by this what happened, this war ended by treaty that is known as Salabai Agreement. A treaty of this agreement was signed between the Marathas and the British, and the war was ended. Almost the Britishers gained more success in this war. So this much is about the first Anglo-Maratha war. So here the Marathas installed Shah Alam II back on the throne of Mughal Empire in Delhi. Shah Alam II was under the care of British after the defeat in Buxar war. Now the emperor gave Kora and Allahabad to Marathas, which he had earlier given them to the British. So see here, when Shah Alam II again he was brought back to the throne by the Marathas, he gave Kora and Allahabad, these two places which were under the British, he gave those places back to the, from British took and he gave them to the Marathas. By this what happened? See, this resulted in the enmity between Marathas and the British. During this period, the death of Maratha strongman, that is Madhav Rao Peshwa, was a major setback to Marathas. Though his brother Narayan Rao came to power, he was murdered by his uncle Raghoba or Raghunath Rao. This resulted in the infighting for the Peshwa post. So here see, this was the condition. Shah Alam II was brought back to the throne. And now in the meanwhile what happened in Marathas, Madhav Rao had died and his brother Narayan Rao was made a Peshwa. So when Narayan Rao was made Peshwa, his uncle Raghunath Rao or Raghoba was more angered and he murdered Narayan Rao. So this resulted in the infighting for the Peshwa post. The Maratha Federation brought Madhav Rao II of Narayan Rao to the post of Peshwa. So here Madhav Rao II was brought as Peshwa, that is son of Narayan Rao, was still a minor. He was made as Peshwa. Upset with this development, Raghoba approached the British for support. The British thought of exploiting this situation in their favor. So when Raghunath Rao was not made Peshwa, he went and he asked for the help of the British. So he approached to the British. Now the Britishers, what they planned, they thought of exploiting this situation under their control. They interfered in this war so that they also could get something from this war and they could gain control over these regions. So a long war was waged from 1775 to 1782 between the Marathas and the British. Initially, though Marathas gained upper hand, later they had to lose Allahabad to the British. The Maratha Federation, unable to sustain the war with the British, finally entered Salbai Agreement and ended the war. Madhav Rao II was named as the Peshwa. So see, this war almost took for about 7 years. It was fought for about 7 years. So initially the Marathas were more powerful, but as the war was going on, the Britishers they became more powerful than the Marathas. And later on by 1782 this war ended with a treaty or with the agreement, that is Salbai Agreement. This war was ended and Madhav Rao II became the Peshwa in the Maratha Federation. So this much is about first Anglo-Maratha war. Next here they have mentioned about Lord India. So here Lord Wellesley, he introduced subsidiary alliance in India. So what is the subsidiary alliance? You will study here. See, the expansion of the British Empire took place in a larger pace after the arrival of Lord Wellesley as the Governor General of India. By this time, the powerful states of Marathas and Mysore had become weak and the expansion was easier. So under this, that is under Lord Wellesley, the expansion of the British Empire in India was very easy. Why? Because he had introduced such type of cunning policy. That is already you know, that is subsidiary alliance. And by that time also what happened, the Marathas and the Mysore states had become more weak. So see here, Lord Wellesley followed 3 policies to expand the British Empire in India. So see here, this is important question, for 1 or 2 marks they have asked this. So see here, which were those 3 policies? He waged wars with the new states, means which were not under their control. He waged wars with those states. Next, second policy was subsidiary alliance, and third policy was directly controlling those states under the administration of the British. Britishers directly they administered. They did not kept any Indian rulers or Indian ministers under them. So see here, Lord Wellesley followed 3 policies to expand the British Empire in India. They were subsidiary alliance, waging war against the new states, and administrating the states directly that were under the control of the British. So these were the 3 policies, cunning policies of Lord Wellesley. So here subsidiary alliance. Subsidiary alliance, which was introduced in 1798 by Lord Wellesley. So what is this subsidiary alliance? They have asked many times these questions here. Lord Wellesley brought this policy into effect in 1798 in order to bring the Indian states under control. Why we introduced this? Because the Indian states should be controlled by him, directly controlled by the Britishers. So he introduced this cunning policy. This was basically a military protection agreement between the East India Company and the Indian states. So see here, this was military protection agreement. This was kind of military protection agreement between Indian kings and the Britishers or East India Company. So see here the conditions of subsidiary alliance. So many times they have asked this question for 3 or 2 marks. What were the conditions of subsidiary alliance, or what was subsidiary alliance? So you have to write these all points. 6 points they have mentioned. If they ask for 3 marks, you have to write 6 points. If they ask the question for 2 marks, you have to write 4 points. That is, each point carries half mark. So what were the conditions of subsidiary alliance? When the Indian king is to enter or he is to agree this agreement, what he had to do? See here, the Indian king had to keep the British army in his kingdom. So see here, the Indian king, he had to keep the British army, East India Company's army in his kingdom. By this what would happen? The maintenance of that army was under the Indian kings. Means whatever their food, their shelter or whatever things were there, that all were looked after by the Indian kings. Next year, the concerned state had to bear the expenses of the army and the wages of soldiers, and also had to give certain revenue lands as well. So this much all the Indian kings had to give to the army. They had to give wages to the soldiers. Wages means their salary. The Indian king had to give salary to the soldiers, and also he had to bear the expenses. Expenses means whatever they spent, he had to bear that all expenses. And also he had to give revenue lands as well. Means few lands he had to give to the soldiers, or the taxes which was collected over those lands he had to give to the soldiers. Next here, the king has to have a British resident in his court. British resident means any British man he had to keep in his court. Court means whatever the administration was done by the king. There was a court of king where the ministers and all would sit and discuss about the administration. There a man of the British had to sit and he had to watch whatever had happened. So these were the three conditions of subsidiary alliance. Next three we shall study in the next class. So here by this I end today's class. Thank you students.